Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Today is of course Saturday para sa ating bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. At tamang-tama dumating na ang ating co-host, si Ginan Sonia Roco. Kala ko hindi makakarating.
Homecoming.
Anyway, please like and share our live video in our FB page, Broadstreamcast Communicators, or you may follow me on Facebook at Corazon Alma de Leon, or you may contact me at 0918-912-3546. So, tama-tama, dumating ng ating co-host. Mag-greet muna ang ating co-host na parang galing sa isang event. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sonia.
Hindi, nandito pa ako, Cora, sa ano.
Ha?
Kami. Magandang hapon sa lahat mo ng ating mga tagapakinig. Akala ko makakabalik ako ng maaga pero nandito pa ako sa alumni homecoming namin sa St. Joseph.
Okay naman.
Kaya may
kwento mo yung alumni homecoming nyo.
Nakita ko yung...
Nasaan ka ngayon?
Ano?
Dito lang sa Manila?
St. Joseph's College.
St. Joseph. So,
Quezon City. St. Joseph.
Welcome to all of you, mga co-alumni.
Thank you very much, Julie. Julie ba to?
At si Jade, at saka bisita natin si Francine Beatriaz Pradez ng Dagupan Girl Scout Council, Northern Luzon Region, and Miss Rose Jade Eugenie Delgado, Girl Scout of the Philippines, National Assistant Treasurer. Top 10 outstanding student.
Welcome kayong lahat sa programa namin.
Oo nga. Si Sonia, outstanding student yan, top 10 yan, top, hindi number 2, top yan, top, ha? Kaya, simulan natin, dati sa programang ito, every end of the month, we have talaga the Girl Scouts, pero dahil yung guest natin, para sa National Women's Month, will only be available March 25th, kaya in-exchange natin, kaya napaaga. At katulad ng dati, nagsisimula tayo sa poem na binabasa ko, Nasaan ang Araw. Sana maunawaan natin anong dahilan bakit tayo merong nasaan ang araw. Matagal ko nang inasahan ang pagsikat ng araw. Matagal ko nang inasamasamang paglaho ng dilim. Ngunit bakit ganito ang buhay? Bakit ganito ang damdamin? Ang puso ay nagtatanong, ang diwa ay nagtataka. Nasaan ang araw? Ang araw pala ay nasa puso. Ang araw pala ay nasa kaluluwa ng bala na. Kung ang puso ay puno ng pagmamahal, hindi na kailangang itanong, nasaan ang araw? Kung ang kaluluwa ay puno ng katotohanan, hindi na din kailangang itanong pa, nasaan ang araw? Sa isip, sa salita at sa gawa, nakapaloob ang araw. Kailanman ay walang kadiliman. Sa tuwa, katotohanan at pagmamahalan. Salamat sa poong may kapal, may kasagutan na ang tanong kong nasaan ang araw. At tamang-tama, ang sagot naman ni Rabindranath Tagore, the poet from India, sabi niya, where mind is without fear and head held high, where the world has not been broken to fragments by narrow domestic walls, where timeless striving stretch their arms towards perfection, where the mind is led forward to deep, ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my mother left my country away. Ngayong hapon ito, dalawang participant natin, guest natin, ay magbibigay ng kanilang experiences para sa kanilang karanasan para let my country awake, panggising sa ating bayan, ano? So, simulan na natin, I guess, according to age, batang-bata, Cadet, Girl Scout, Francine, Beatriz, Pradez. I think 21 years old. Tama, Francine?
Yes
Francine?
po, tama po yan.
Okay. Tinitingnan ko, tinitest ko kung mariremember ko. Memory, di ba, Sonia? Memory natin. Kailangan matanda natin. Sige, greet ka muna, Francine. How did you get started in Girl Scouting? At saka anong inspiration mo? Bakit ka na Girl Scout? Go
Sure
ahead.
po. Hello po, Ma'am Cora and Ma'am Sonia, as well as Ate Jade. Good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. I'm Francine Pradez from Dagupan City Council, Northern Luzon region. And nagsimula po ako sa Girl Scouting purely out of circumstance lang po. Kasi ni-require po kami ng PE teacher namin noon na mag-attend sa isang camping para ma-experience yung first time lang po kasi namin noon as first year high school students na makalabas sa school. Kaya ni-require po kami. And kung aaminin ko po, hindi po siya love at first sight. Naalala ko pa po noon, yung nag-camping kami, nagpapauwi na ako sa nanay ko, sabi ko, hindi ko na po kaya magpuyat dito. Hindi ko na rin po kayang gumawa ng mga activities. Pero hindi po nila ako inuwi. Tapos medyo matagal bago ko nagustuhan yung Girl Scouting. Pero kung maipipinpoint po akong isang moment, siguro yung gumawa po ako ng community project when I was in second year high school. Isa po itong feeding program and literacy project sa isa sa mga areas sa community namin na may highest rates of malnutrition. Siguro pagkatapos ko po nun nagawa yung project, doon ko nakita yung value of the sisterhood and yung value of going and collaborating together to work towards change. Kaya siguro din po ako nagtagal. Kung aminin po, 10 years na po ako sa Girl Scout. Nagtagal po ako kasi nandun yung constant sense of coming home to something that brings a lot of purpose. Eh nakikita ko kila Ate Jade na yung mga ates ko, matagal na sila pero nag-e-enjoy sila sa ginagawa nila. Nandun pa rin yung excitement na una nilang nakita nung younger years nila. Nandun din po yung purpose na kung bakit nandito sila. And siguro po, dala-dala ko yun sa bawat ginagawa ko, hindi lang dito sa loob ng Girl Scout, pati na rin sa college life ko. And hopefully after this year po, sa career naman na po.
Galing. Anyway, talagang nagsisimula na parang hindi mo naintindihan bakit kailangan ng Girl Scout. Pero pag nandun ka na, you get hooked. I really call it hook because parang you have so much to do and so very little time. Gusto mo magawa mo marami. And I think this is the case with Rose Jade, Eugenie Delgado. Kasi she is now National Assistant Treasurer, tigahawak ng pera. Tama?
Yeah.
Jade, go ahead. Same story, how you started in Girl Scouting and your inspiration to become a Girl Scout. Go ahead.
Well, first off, magandang hapon po and happy Women's Month sa ating lahat. Thank you for having us again, Miss Cora. Thank you for having the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. I'm Rose Jade Eugenie Delgado. Most of the girls call me Tita Jade na kasi medyo young adult volunteer na ako, but I insist na Ate Jade lang or Jade is fine. I've been in the Girl Scout for maybe 15 to 16 years na. I started as a Star Scout from the Iloilo Council, and now I'm an Assistant National Treasurer of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. So, grabing leap siya from then till now. But like Francine, hindi din love at first sight sa akin yung Girl Scouts of the Philippines. My mother was actually the one who convinced me to join the GSP. It was a very difficult time for us then. So my father passed away and I became very shy and very timid, which was very unlike me. So my mother, who was a Girl Scout din dati, said na yung Girl Scouting talaga would be a great opportunity for me para ma-boost yung confidence ko. So I'll become social again, to interact with girls, to learn skills. So I tried it out. And first few engagements ko sa Girl Scout, gusto ko din umuwi, umiyak din ako. Nagpasundo din ako sa nanay ko. But like Francine, hindi din pumayag yung nanay ko. And I thought to myself, you know, kasi gusto to ng mom ko, maybe I should give it a real try talaga. And thankfully, I fell in love with the Girl Scout movement. I fell madly and deeply in love. And until now, I'm still a Girl Scout even if I'm working. And I'm very grateful for the movement kasi maraming opportunities ang binigay sa akin ng Girl Scout. I became a young
Officer.
a volunteer for the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. I became a youth representative for the Council of Welfare of Children. I've represented GSP in international engagements. I'm the global youth leader for the Sun Movement of the United Nations, and that's all thanks to GSP. So now I'm an assistant national treasurer of the movement, and I feel like this is a time for me to give back naman to
Yeah.
GSP through this role. So
Yeah.
a lot of my colleagues actually asked me kung bakit pa rin ako Girl Scout, nag-work na ako, dapat doon ako nagfo-focus. But I just really find a different sense of fulfillment in the movement. And that's why, like Francine said, very active pa din kami in terms of Girl Scouting.
Mm. Just for your information, nag-message na si Delio Aceron, taga PhilHealth sa Region 10. So sana ang mga members ng Girl Scout lahat maging members din ng PhilHealth para lumawak din ang inyong capacity para pag nagkasakit kayo, alam ninyo na may tutulong sa inyo. Sa pagpapatuloy natin, siguro, ang matatanong ko, why do you think it is important to celebrate National Women's Day, of course, and of course, Women's Month? Wow. Francis, bakit sa palagay mo kailangan natin ma-celebrate yung National Women's Day and of course, National Women's Month? Go ahead.
Aside po from putting into the forefront yung mga real issues and concerns na na-experience at the grassroots level ng women and allowing us to speak out about those issues, celebrating National Women's Month is our way of honoring the narratives and lived experiences po of our peers, of the women that came before us, and continuing the fight that they did on ensuring that there is gender equity in our society po. So ganun kahalaga na tumatanaw tayo sa present, but at the same time looking forward towards what we can do for the future generation while honoring the past din po.
Galing naman. Nag-ano na, meron na nagsasabi si Jinky Bueno Iliot na pagpalang araw po. Ma'am Cora, Ma'am Sonia and guest. Si Maluyu, good afternoon. Si Nene Austria, good PM, good in the afternoon. May-ari ito ng isang eskwela. Of course, ang ating presidente, Nina L. Luzon. So happy to see Jojo, Francine, our strong women. I like that Francine honors our past heroines. Yes, tamang-tama, no? Pero siguro ang tanong ngayon natanong ko na ba, why do we need to celebrate National Women's Day, National Women's Month? Clearly, may relasyon din yon sa inyong milestones that you have reached in Girl Scouting. Kasi future, nakikita ko, kailangan talaga sa Girl Scouts celebrate natin yung National Women's Day, National Women's Month because Girl Scout, walang boys dyan, puro girls. Kaya dapat talaga moving on to being women, So, siguro ang question ko ngayon sa inyo is what are the benefits of having empowered women in the Girl Scouts of the Philippines? Ito yung might look like a canned question pero talagang napaka-importante sa Girl Scout to feel empowered, di ba? So go ahead, share mo. Ikaw muna, Jade. Jojo yata nickname mo, Jade. Go ahead.
It's Jaja po, but
Jaja.
so
Mali ang basa ko.
yeah.
Nabasa ko
Yes.
Jaja pala.
No problem.
Sige, good.
In my case po, I could say na I personally became an empowered woman because of the empowered women I was exposed to, thanks to the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. And I'm only one of the hundreds of thousands. Kami ni Francine are only one of the few Girl Scouts throughout history who was impacted by our fellow girls in green. I was inspired to be a strong, confident woman with a voice because of the women that I was exposed to sa movement growing up, from my mother, as I mentioned, Girl Scout din, to the titas like Tita Nina who is watching, to our GSP heroes, of course, in the likes of Jose Falianes Escoda and Pilar Hidalgo Lim, and even with my fellow Girl Scouts. Now, being with empowered women sa GSP allows one to really see what is possible if you give a woman the tools that she needs to succeed, and how those tools should be used to impact change. So growing up, I was exposed to women in positions of power, women who are unapologetic about using their voice, women na who were fighting for their seat at the table, and women na very passionate talaga about working on different advocacies. I have witnessed Girl Scouts of all ages talaga creating an impact in the local, national, and even in the global level through their projects and programs. They're working on violence against women and girls, mental health, nutrition, peer education, the SDGs. And to achieve that, yung GSP, no, hindi lang kami actually ini-empower, but minimake sure din ng movement na equipped kami as well with knowledge and skills to do our part na ma-address itong different issues na to. So it's important na to continue to pass on this passion and to continue to empower other women as we have been empowered ourselves. So, yeah.
Siyempre, you are now a career woman, to say the least, no? Have you faced any barriers in your career due to being a woman? Ano? Or not yet, bata ka pa kasi. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have been in the workforce po not for a very long time, maybe just around
Yes.
4 5 years. So, but I work in the foreign service field. So I've been employed sa mga different embassies na foreign embassies dito sa Philippines, and I have been very fortunate that I have been in places of work where very conscious sila and sensitive about ensuring equality at inclusivity in the workplace. In fact, there are some interest groups nga for women sa workplaces ko na nag-aim to help women, to educate yung mga allies, and to shed light sa mga issues na na-encounter ng women in the workplace. And I think ito ay proof how far we've come in terms of ensuring that women are valued sa workplace. But just because hindi ko siya na-experience as much sa work ko doesn't mean it's not a reality, no, for a lot of women. And even with the strides actually now we've had, a lot still needs to be done. For example, in the field of foreign service, especially sa higher positions, it's still predominantly male. Most ambassadors, mga diplomats are still male. And there are still stereotypes that are prevalent. For example, we hear people saying na how women should not be in the diplomatic field because they are too emotional, and because hindi sila as logical as men, they may start wars and things like that. So these things are a disservice in terms of equal opportunities for women in the workplace. But I know of a lot of women who are trying to break those barriers and to create a safer space for women in the
Certainly not the
Hmm.
Senator Leticia Siahani dahil naging ambassador siya sa mga difficult countries and of course sa UN din. Pero siguro kay Francine, what are some of your personal experiences that motivates you to move on? Kumbaga, and what advice do you have for women who want to do more? Kasi sometimes it's the women try to limit themselves. Hindi ko kaya yan. Hanggang dito na lang ako. What will you tell them, or what will you advise them? Francine,
Yeah,
ikaw naman.
definitely. For me po, it's more of personal experience why I'm continuing in the movement, and of course why this fight for gender equity is much more important to me. Siguro po kasi every time I work with the Girl Scouts and as well as in other NGOs that I work with, we hear daily personal narratives and lived experiences of women struggling within the system na parang they can't reach for more kasi there is a glass ceiling in their workplace. They can't take on leadership positions within school kasi the stereotype that men lead better than women is still prevalent. And there are specific cases wherein we work po with advocacy groups to equip women during the pandemic to be a part of the workforce. Nahihirapan sila magkaroon ng jobs kasi women sila. And at worse, young women sila. So society kind of looks down upon them, and the work conditions aren't that good for young women. So siguro those narratives coming together, they're not just statistics anymore. They're real people with real stories to tell. Now, when you think about it, you're not just a young woman anymore. You're not just a Girl Scout. You're someone who is equipped by the movement to create absolute and as well as positive change that can really rock the boat po, kumbaga. And for me, since syempre young woman po ako, tapos palaging nababanggit, bata ka pa, ang dami mo pang magagawa. Those are the common things I hear. And medyo nakaka-pressure po siya kasi iniisip ko, dapat siguro marami talaga akong ginagawa in a day kasi bata pa nga po. Pero siguro, if I were to advise somebody on what it means to do more and be more, it would be to take everything on their own pace. Kasi iba-iba po tayo ng pacing, and to not let the whatever reality they have stop them from pursuing what they need to pursue or what they want to pursue. Surely, may mga circumstantial things po and situations that would prevent them from pursuing what they want to pursue. Pero meron din tayong double consciousness na hindi lang tayo victim ng system. We could also change that system and try to find more solutions to make it better for other people. And in this case, siguro for me, having gone through some lived experiences as well, similar to the narratives that I hear, I think it's my way of doing it or paying it forward by doing more to making to ensuring that the girls that I meet have a better reality to live in, as well as experience more opportunities than I did po.
Tamang-tama ang sabi ni Mabel Roa. Of course, good afternoon, Ma'am Cora, Ma'am Sonia, and guests from GSP. Happy to watch and listen to smart, young, empowered women such as Jade and Francine, who give a voice to their generation and serve as the role models for the young girls of today. God bless. Sabi ni Alice Alafris Panares, bravo for Francine and Jade, good women of independent, competent women. Sabi ni Alice Bala, dating chairman ng Civil Service Commission, mabuhay ang mga kababaihan. Si Nacho Moore, sabi niya, Asians treats women as second-class citizen. I think this is before or maybe ongoing pa rin, but this has changed. Sabi ni Alice Lafris Panares, both Francine and Jade are young women but truly great leaders, changing views of many people who have negative views about women. Sabi nga may negative views, especially the Chinese, it's double standard. Si Evelyn Roda nanonood, nakikinig mula sa Maryland. And of course, women these days in America are high-powered positions. I think it's also in the Philippines, but there should be much more could be done. Siguro, meron pang tanong dito and it's very interesting. If you could have a dinner with three inspirational women, dead or alive, ganda pa ng tanong to, dead or alive, who would they be and why? So, three women sa palagay nyo, nakilala nyo lang, nabalitaan nyo, pero you would be interested to have dinner with them. Yeah, start tayo kay Jade. Go ahead, Jade. Three women.
That's actually a challenging question because I'm inspired, and I know Francine would agree. We're inspired by so many women. But I think for me, my three would be number one, definitely Jose Falianes Escoda, the founder of G.
Yes. Agree.
It would be amazing. She was a social worker, a World War II heroine. She founded GSP, and she pushed for women's right to vote. So I would definitely love to have dinner with her. Second, I'm a big reader, so probably a female author, maybe Jane Austen, would be great. And then the third, sa modern era naman, I think one of the women I admire is former First Lady Michelle Obama. So she has done a lot of advocacy work as well. So I think having dinner with her would be amazing too.
Well, baka pwedeng you can write her and say that I hope someday when I go to America, because I am a foreign service graduate, I will have a chance to have dinner with Michelle Obama. The book is wonderful also, if you read the book. How about Francine? How do you want to see have dinner with three inspirational women sa your side of the story?
I think since Ate Jade already mentioned JLE or Josef Elianes Escoda, I would have to go with, if we're talking about dead people, siguro po si Bell Hooks. She's an American author on race, feminism, and class. We've been talking about her in our sessions in our university, so that's quite interesting to hear her personal takes on some current issues. A second person I would love to have dinner with is actually alive and quite young. She's an Filipino astronomy scholar. You might be familiar with her, Hilary Andales, because I have a background in STEM po. I'm currently a geology major, so it's interesting for me to hear from somebody in the STEM sector as well, the challenges as well as the triumphs of women in our field. And finally, I think I would have love to have dinner with my mom. She's one of the reasons that I'm able to go as far as I can. I think her support means quite a lot. I think for all of us, our mothers have been one of our first inspirations and one of the primary movers to get us to where we are. So those are my three women, Bell Hooks, Hilary Ann Dallas, and my mom. And if given a chance for another person, definitely JLE or Pilar Hidalgo Lim would be a great fit to that dinner party.
Wow, ang galing-galing naman ano. Um, Sabi ni Nacho Moore, great topic. Obamas are smart people. Women these days in America are, sabi naman, high-powered. Dito sa Pilipinas kasi, may dalawang areas, no? Kasi the more educated women tend to be, have opportunities for empowerment. But ang nangyayari, yung earlier on, those people who lived in the, I guess, in their, who are now maybe in their 80s or 90s, didn't go to the same process. No? I personally believe that we should advise the women to be able to do more. Kasi parang sometimes it is they who limit themselves. Ang feeling nila, I have enough to do. I have my children. I have my husband. I have to take care. And this really, the role of the homemaker cuts them off from the mainstream of society. So, nakikita ko na very important na to do have both, to have both, you know. Of course, I'm not married. I never was married, so it's a different story. But the pursuits of women, whether married or single, should dovetail with their own aspirations for themselves. Hindi dapat na feeling nila, I cannot do this because I'm married. I cannot do this because etc. etc. Pero nakita ko na sa inyo, yung I still want you to tell your stories, your own experiences, personal experiences that continues to motivate you to be the best that you can be, not just in the Girls Scout, but really for our country, for the Philippines. Let's start with Jade. Go ahead.
Yes. So there are a lot of motivations now in terms of doing why what we do and why we continue in the Girl Scouting movement. So for me, two things: it's experience and exposure. So personally, I've been in a lot of situations where I'm usually the youngest in the room, and there are several instances where people tell me na that I'm kumaga I'm underestimated because one, I'm young, and second, I'm a woman. So previously I thought of those two things as things that um, should affect my way of thinking, something that aren't strengths, that they're weaknesses. But now, thanks to the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, I began to think of them as strengths. Being young and being a woman,
Mm.
it only means that I can do more and I can do something different. The second is exposure. So, as Francine mentioned, in the Girl Scouts, we've had several opportunities to work on different cross-cutting issues, doing different advocacies, and we were able to personally talk with the people who experience them. We were able to talk with people who work on these advocacies as well, and that really fuels our motivation to do more kasi nakikita namin kung ano din yung impact ng ginagawa namin. And right now, since we have done a lot in terms of advocacies in the local and national level, I know Francine also agrees that we feel a sense of responsibility naman na i-inspire and i-empower yung other fellow Girl Scouts namin, younger ones, to be able to do the same as well. So
Mm.
as I mentioned, it's all about continuing to pass on that passion.
Okay. Ikaw naman, Francine. I am sure, of course, si Jade is already becoming the model, no? Kasi parang ang feeling ko, I am talking to a future ambassador. I'm talking to somebody
Hopefully.
who can be speaking in the United Nations, among others. Francine, how about you? Who were the people who really, of course, na-mention mo na kung sino naka-influence sa'yo, no? But what advice would you give to women who need to do more? Parang kulang pa kasi they see themselves only as housewife lang ako, etc. Ganyan. Francine, go ahead.
Siguro po for me, it's more of like getting into their mindset as well. As much as we want to empower women, it is also equally important to understand their mindset, their present realities. That's one of the things I've learned po throughout working with young people. As much as you would love to do 100 projects for them, make sure all of their realities with regards to their contemporary issues are resolved, it's important to understand what is in their current reality or what is in their lived experiences that makes it hard for them to do more and be more. And from there, I think that's where we work upon. And in terms of how we can further encourage them, I think it's in two things. Because Ate Jade po, there's in exposure and experience. I think for me, to encourage people, there's truth telling and acts of kindness. And for me, those are the two things that I can
Naputol. Anyway, we will continue later, no? Nina Yuson asked the question, what about you, Secretary Cora? Who would you choose to have dinner with, considering you've met so many women in high and low positions? Of course, my first, Nina, is your mom, Estefania Aldaban Lim, who at the age of 32 made me the youngest regional director of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. I also, of course, met Hillary Clinton, and in that event with the women, I gave the prayer for women. So dasal lang ako. I never really engaged her, but I have a wonderful photograph with her and President Clinton. And then the third, na gusto ko din sabihin, I had the opportunity to meet Prime Minister, the the Prime Minister of UK, na sa aking palagay ay Margaret Thatcher. Ni-remind ako ni Dina, baka nakalimutan ko. Margaret Thatcher, who reminded me as chairman of civil service, three things. Sabi niya, streamline the bureaucracy. Number two, fight graft and corruption. And number three, pay the civil servants well. I did not, I went to, first is that streamline. I did that in the civil service when I was chair. I did also fight graft and corruption, catching the people, but I was not able to achieve give the pay the civil servants well because it is not in the mandate of civil service. Pero sabi ni Alice Alafriz Panyare, sabi niya, why Cora Alma de Leon, a great model for women in their senior years. Yes, I'm gonna be 82 years old, August 6th, Feast of the Transformation. Still active, adapting to new technology, and being a good host. Well, when people ask me, bakit ka ba nagtatrabaho pa? 4 days a week, I am on radio through StreamYard and through Radyo Pilipino. And, and I say, and now I am also vice chairman of the Philippine Red Cross together with our chairman, Richard J. Gordon. So sabi nga, how come you still find all of these things to do? Well, when I talk to you now, Jade and Francine, I feel so humbled because at your age, I didn't feel I could do all of the things I have done. Pero just to tell a story to add to that, no, that when I shook the hands of the at the time the social welfare administrator, when I shook her hands, I said, someday I will be the secretary of social welfare. I began with that goal. I began with that ambition, and I reached it. Matagal. It had to be 1992, and I graduated 1962 in UP. So 30 years I had to wait to become that. But anyway, moving on, nakita ko na siguro maganda na natin pag-usapan din yung continuing challenges pa kasi I remember during the pandemic, nahirapan ng Girl Scouts no, to have more members. Pero at the same time, nagkaroon din ng problema ng ayaw ng gobyerno na pagbayarin yung mga estudyante o mga parents ng membership during the at the beginning of their sa Girl Scouts, no, hindi were not able to collect. But now apparently with your MAAB, successful naman kayo. And I think every community, every school should have Girl Scouts. And I think we should be able to harness talaga to make sure that solvent ang Girl Scouts and that you can do much more with the with your finances taken care of. Yun ang nakikita ko lang. So, patuloy natin, ano, we still have half an hour. Ano pa yung siguro you now invite, no, ang mga listeners natin why they need to become Girl Scouts. Kasi some mothers, buti yung mothers nyo, okay. But some mothers think na ay additional ano yan, the problem yan, you will have more you won't have time with the family and you will be just interested in going out, etc. But how do you cope with that kumbaga reference na that is time taken out of the home? That's I think quite a challenge for some, particularly with some who are tawag natin sa may laylayan. Laylayan uh, ng ating bansa, ng ating community, na parang sinasabi, added burden yan, yung pagiging Girl Scout. How do you cope with that? Francine, ikaw muna.
Yeah, thanks, Ma'am Cora. I think it's
Yes.
important to change the mindset of how we see things. It's not time
Yes.
taken out of the home. It's time poured in by both the parents, the community, and the girl to enrich herself. So changing that mindset kind of shows us that when girls join Girl Scouting, they don't just gain their selves and their sense of community and their sense of purpose. They also gain time to reflect on how important family life is. Because we will have one of the 8-point challenges wherein we incorporate the challenge of family life and make sure that parents, siblings, and extended family relatives are bonded together in Girl Scouting. So walang kawalan po ang family time. Part and parcel siya ng being a good Girl Scout. But more importantly, why we should encourage girls to be part of the movement. Kung hindi pa po good feedback yung nabagay namin na testimony ni Ate Jade, I think it's because it's a unique experience that only the girls could find out once they're in the movement themselves. They can discover the magic of the movement once they're in that position wherein they're joining camps, participating in trainings, interacting with both adult leaders and their peers, and being really immersed in the community that they have. So I really hope that everyone who gets to listen to this radio show program, as well as everyone who gets to hear about Girl Scouting, will be encouraged and will encourage people that they know to join the Girl Scouting movement. And if ever anyone is interested, you can visit our GST website to contact the council nearest to you in order to join. And if you just want to look and observe, that would be great as well to get a feel of what the movement is like.
Sabi ni Lay Pablo Morales, bilib ako kay Francine. May ongoing training ngayon and she's one of the facilitators. Ngayon, guest mo na naman siya dito. Go Francine and Miss Jade. Kaya nakakatuwa kasi yung mga nanonood, naniniwala na yung ginagawa natin dito, worth the effort talaga. I understand that you have 96 councils now. And is it still growing? Kasi ito, face-to-face na yata ngayon ang meeting ninyo, di ba? You have 96 councils. And then, of course, you have the GSP website. You have the GSP social media pages. Ano pa? You have pa the Facebook, di ba? Sa Girl Scouts of the Philippines. And then you YouTube Girl Scouts uh, of the Philippines 1940 and Twitter and Instagram Girl Scouts PH. So siguro sa dami naman na pwedeng makakommunicate sa Girl Scout, lalawak at lalawak ang opportunities na nakikreate para sa Girl Scout. Ano yung, how do you use now this medium right now? Kayo ba lahat ay able to connect with all of these opportunities to communicate sa Girl Scouts? How do you do it? How do you work on this? May Facebook kayo, may nasa YouTube kayo, gano'n? Kasi ang kulang ko pa nakikita, gusto ko yung mga activities ng Girl Scout makita talaga sa YouTube. Lalo na yung mga chapters that are doing, innovative, dynamic work that you have been doing. And I dream of the day na palagi ko sinasabi na sana ang Girl Scout will receive the award, Ramon Magsaysay Award for what is it has done and will still be doing. Panaginip ko yon. So, naniniwala ako na makakatulong para sa inyong lahat ito. So, ang ending na lang natin ngayon, you remind the people the benefits of joining the Girl Scout movement. And then, of course, you invite the parents and guardians for their daughters, granddaughters to join the GS movement. And of course, gusto ko ding ikwento ninyo paano nangyayari ngayon yung community-based troops. Kasi para sa akin, hindi lang tayo rooted sa eskwela, dapat talaga nasa community. I dream of the day na may Girl Scout troop in every barangay. We have 42,000 barangays. It might be a dream, but who knows? Maybe the time will come when we can say we already reached 40,000 barangays in our 2,000 na lang ang reach natin. Go ahead, Jade. Do you think it can be done?
Yes. So, to answer
Wow, very
your
firm.
questions, um, we do invite daughters, granddaughters, nieces, sisters to join the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. So as I've mentioned, me, Francine, became empowered women because we were surrounded by empowered women of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. And like Francine said, we cannot really kumbaga, tell you how much Girl Scouting has impacted us, what the experience it is like. You have to experience it by yourself. And the membership is 50 pesos as of now. So, I never would have thought na yung 50 pesos na in-invest ng mom ko 15 years ago would lead me to where I am today. I was given international opportunities, an opportunity to do advocacy work, an opportunity to speak in this radio show this afternoon. So those are just one of the many benefits ng Girl Scouting, no? And Francine would agree with that as well. Our 50 pesos was, well, the 50 pesos of our parents was very well spent. So we encourage you to be a part of the sisterhood, the movement as well. You can reach out to us through Facebook, through Twitter to Instagram if you have any questions. So now the Girl Scout is actually slowly transitioning into doing more of our face-to-face programs and projects. So as has been mentioned during this interview, Francine is actually in one of those face-to-face programs. But we are still offering some projects and programs online. So if you want to be updated with what we are offering and what programs and projects are available, you can always check our Facebook page and our Instagram. So we hope that you will be part of the movement. We are always in need of more dynamic and girls who can help us to continue the legacy of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines.
Um, Sabi ni Cecilia Sanyo sa Restubog Nieto, good afternoon, Chair Cora and GSP guest. True, we need GSPs in the community. Dito a retired regional director ng civil service. Siguro you can tap retirees to help organize in the communities kasi sila naniniwala sila sa Girl Scouts. So dapat magkaroon ng opportunity na to meet mga retirees ng civil service, ng DSWD to help in your areas of responsibility. Si Francine, what can you say about the benefits of joining the Girl Scouting movement? And how do you motivate the parents and guardians to make sure that their children, daughters and granddaughters join? Go ahead, Francine.
Definitely po, to re-echo Ate Jade's words, sana abot ang 50 pesos mo. I think it's unparalleled how far we've come. For me personally, going through international opportunities, going abroad wasn't really part of my plan when I started in the Girl Scout movement. I just wanted to join campings to fulfill a requirement that we had in school. And all I wanted to do was to end the day making sure that I did my gadgets, fix my knots correctly. But to realize how far we've come from a small girl in 2014, about 13 years old, then becoming a 21-year-old, having seen a huge part of the world all because of Girl Scouting, listening to great minds, getting to know their story, and re echoing that story back to the community, and helping that community empower themselves to create good change, positive, transformative change. It's very different in the movement. I would always say when I'm training with the girls a while ago, ibang-iba yung Girl Scouting movement. Whenever I think of the volunteer work I've been doing in other organizations, the amount of fulfillment, the amount of sisterhood and belongingness that you get in the movement can never be compared. Kakaiba po siya. And it can only be gained through experience. The things that I'm telling now, this is truth telling, but it is not enough for you to feel that sensation of giddiness, yung excitement po talaga, yung feeling of camaraderie pag nakita mo na pababa ng bus yung mga kakilala mong Girl Scouts and mag-start na kayo ng training. That is irreplaceable memories, and that is what Girl Scout can bring your kids, your sisters, your granddaughters, and your nieces. Perhaps 50 pesos might seem like a lot, but for a lifetime of good memories, solid friendship, and um, a lifetime of getting to know yourself and rediscovering, relearning, learning, and unlearning.
Mm.
Maliit lang po ang 50 pesos, but more than just the fee, it's really the experience that you offer the girls that makes Girl Scouting worthwhile.
Sabi ni Nina, ano, Tagalog naman, Francine. It just shows your capacity to ano. Baka si Jade kasi mag-ambassador kaya ang kailangan in other languages that you can speak. Sabi ni Nina Yuzon, we have so many Girl Scouts like Jade and Francine. So the multiplication of their love for service and country is good for our country. Tama, I agree with you. At tama-tama naman itong we have 8 minutes, bale, no? 5:48. So, 5 plus 2, 7 minutes, no? So, nakita ko, my analysis is that the Girl Scout movement should be supported by all communities, should be supported by schools, should be supported by organizations, because once a Girl Scout, para sa akin, there was a joke, no, na parang, what is colored green with cookie crumbs all over? Sabi nila, dead Girl Scout. Hindi namamatay yung Girl Scout. The spirit lives on, as I would say. Kaya convinced ako, and I think I'm saying this now more than ever, having been also with the Girl Scouts, having been able to serve in my own capacity, and I think with Nina Yuson now, naniniwala ako, and I think this opportunity we're now giving once a month to identify the leaders of Girl Scouts who can who can trumpet their own activities, yung masasabi nating kapani-paniwala, and can be honored as well in our country with their activities. So para sa inyo, no, it is 5:49. Last words na lang yung greetings ninyo before I end the program. We go back to Jade. Go ahead, Jade. Your words of wisdom
Uh,
to those who listen to us. Sige, go ahead.
Yes. Well, first off, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank again you, Miss Cora, for having the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, for this opportunity to talk about Women's Month, women empowerment, and for this opportunity to encourage girls to be a member of the movement. So I believe my parting words would be in the spirit of Women's Month, that let us continue to do our part to empower women. Let's continue to listen to women. Let's continue to believe in women, support women, learn about issues concerning women, and take action. Let's spark important conversations on women and acknowledge yung mga challenges and barriers faced by women. So this Women's Month, let's not just celebrate women, but continue to drive change so we can shape a world where women are heard, women are valued, and their power is recognized. But most importantly, be a member of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines.
Well said, well said. Francine, ikaw naman.
Same here, Miss Cora. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for having us here today, and for giving us a platform to share something that is close and meaningful to me, Ate Jade, and 100,000 and more women in the Philippines. Girl Scout has been one of the life-changing decisions that I've made, and one of the best decisions I could say. And we pay it forward by encouraging everybody to be a part of the movement, whether it is by joining our councils face to face, going to our website or social media pages on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. But more importantly, to end this radio show program section, it is to encourage everybody to create changes that go beyond March 8th, the celebration of International Women's Day, in order to create a world that is better, stronger, and safer for not just all women, but all genders at that. So once again, maraming salamat po sa inyo, Ma'am Cora, Ate Jade, at sa lahat ng tagapakinig today.
Umalis si Sonia Roco dahil meron silang reunion sa St.
Yeah.
Joseph. So, siguro mahirap makakonect. Anyway, for both of you and for all the Girl Scouts in the Philippines, unless someone cares, I will read. I don't think our communities will ever be clean and green unless someone cares. I don't believe our government will be good, just, and honest unless someone cares. I don't expect our leaders to be morally upright and politically sensitive unless someone cares. I don't expect a better life for our poor and oppressed people unless someone cares. I don't have the faith that we face a brighter future unless someone cares. I don't feel we will ever realize our dreams and aspirations unless someone cares. I don't know if we will all live our sense of purpose to build a better world unless someone cares. That someone is us, that someone is you and me, that someone is everybody, for we all must care. And this afternoon, that is the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. And for this, we need to have the recite this prayer for the nation. Lord, let me be the change I want to see, to do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitations. Grant me the courage and humility. Fill me with spirit to face the challenge and start the change I long to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith, service, and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. And no doubt, the change has begun with the Girl Scouts guesting in this program, and of course, all of those who gave in their comments and participated in this discussion. Ako'y naniniwala, magagawa natin ang lahat ng bagay kung di tayo nag-iisa. Sumali tayo sa Girl Scout, yung mga mothers, isali ninyo yung mga anak dahil talagang magagawa natin ang lahat ng bagay kung di tayo nag-iisa. Napakahalaga at ako'y naniniwala pagdating kay Jade, Delgado, and kay Francine, Pradez ay may pag-asa ang ating bayan. Nina, you should be proud of your Girl Scout, Jade and Francine. Thank you very much and see you again end of April for another round of discussions with the powerful Girl Scouts of the Philippines in our program, Bago ang Lahat, Mamamayan Muna. Ako'y naniniwala na may pag-asa ang bayan kapag may mga taong naniniwala na magagawa natin. So, sabi ni Alice, sabi niya, um, thank you, Ma'am Cora de Leon, for sharing our new women leaders today. And bravo, Jade and Francine, our wonderful women leaders. Correct kayo dyan, no? Hindi kayo nakakamali. Kaya tamang-tama, 5:55, we're on the nose, we end the program. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig, sa inyong pakikisa sa ating programang Bago ang Lahat, Mamamayan Muna.